Congressman Denham, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Glad to have you. Why is it important to pass this bill that makes it easier for Congress to sue the President of the United States?
Two reasons. First of all, I don't like every law that's on the books, which is why I'm working to change our immigration laws. But our laws are still passed by a Congress and signed by a president. The second reason is if we're actually going to get true immigration reform, we have to have trust in not only in this president, but in any president that once we pass it, they're going to uphold the will of Congress. And so we passed the Enforce Act for those two reasons, to make sure that any president actually does follow the law.
So immigration reform does play a part in this legislation.
Immigration does from the standpoint that we have to trust the president. That whatever the Congress passes, we have to trust the president that he will implement the entire law, not which parts he likes or which parts he doesn't like, or after he signs it into law, to go back like he did the Affordable Care Act and make the changes he's wanted. He's made it over 37 changes to the Affordable Care Act already, unilaterally without Congress.
So in a way, and I understand and I would agree with you 100%. And previously, in the previous segment, I had Congressman Henry Aguirre, a Democrat from Texas, who joined me, and he also was one of the 5 Democrats who signed on to this bill. And to him, it's not a measure. It has nothing to do with party. With him, it has to do with respecting the Constitution. The Constitution says Congress shall write the laws and the President shall enforce the laws. And at the same time, when you see other administrations, George W. Bush, for example, seem to write more executive orders than President Obama has, is there a difference in your eyes?
No, I think it's important by either president, president of either party, but President Obama has had 3 times as many executive orders, even though he railed against President Bush at the time when he was in Congress, when he was in the Senate. He railed against the president at that time for having any executive orders as well. So whether you're Republican or Democrat, I believe very strongly you have to follow the Constitution, and that you elect, individuals to represent their districts, to really show you the true will of the people, and it's up to the president to fulfill those laws.
Agree with you 100%. Now, you know this piece of legislation is not going to go anywhere in the Senate that is run by the Democrats. Why go through this exercise if that's going to be the case?
Actually, it's very important in the court of law. There has been a recent opinion that has said when there has been a lawsuit, it was done by a few members of Congress. This actually shows the will of Congress, that the House has shown its will to be able to pursue the legality of following these different laws and make sure that we're actually following the Constitution. So it's a judicial issue. Obviously, we'd love to have the Senate pass it. Obviously, we'd love to have the president sign it into law so that either party, any president, would actually be forced to follow the laws that are signed in. I mean, the president can veto a law if he doesn't like it, but certainly he should not sign a law and then decide later which parts of it he's going to implement.
Is this the government that you've seen that's done more overreach than any other?
Yes.
And in what areas? I mean, you talk about Affordable Care Act, 37 times amended. By the way, it's applied and it's done through the executive branch. Does this not irritate the Democrats at all, because it was their legislation?
Oh no, and
they're the ones who are facing re-election.
Irritated by it, because I think just as Aguirre said earlier, it is an issue of the Constitution. So Republicans win the presidency this next time around. Is it going to be okay for the next Republican president to decide which laws to implement?
Now, Democrats are spinning this, that this is a way to be, this is actually anti-immigration reform, because you're really going after those who are dreamers in particular, attacking the president for deferred action.
No, that's just ridiculous. In fact, I supported the Nadler Amendment, which would have prevented the gutting of DACA. I think that it's important that we have judiciary discretion or prosecutorial discretion, but we need to make sure that the laws are actually upheld and not done by executive order by a president.
And when you say prosecutorial discretion, which is so our listeners, and this is something that, for example, Congressman Luis Gutierrez has been arguing, that he feels the White House has prosecutorial discretion in order to be able to have something like DACA, deferred action. this would be something that you would have no problem with what the president's done as far as Dreamers?
You know, I believe that on prosecutorial discretion that our law enforcement agencies should be going after the top crimes that are out there. We need to be going after those that are preying on our communities, not those that are actually enhancing our communities. And so, obviously, I've been very pro reform for immigration, and that's why I supported the Nadler Amendment.
And, you know, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, I would say, and I think law enforcement, by and large, you know, you've got the Bibles, badges, and bullets movement, and they're wholeheartedly saying, if someone's a criminal, by all means, deport them. But if someone is not a criminal, until Congress changes or decides to take up immigration reform in the House, you know, just let it be. And I don't know how that works. So when do you think the House will take up immigration reform?
And that's what's been happening for the last 30 years. I mean, we have just continued to kick the can down the road. We need to give law enforcement the ability to go after those that are preying on our immigrant community, those that are preying on our community and actually breaking the law. But we have to do it in a way that not only creates safer communities, but really allows people to come out of the shadows.
Congressman, are we going to see immigration reform come out of the House this year?
Yes.
We will. That was a very strong yes.
I'm very confident. I've got my bill, the Enlist Act, which is getting great momentum, bipartisan support. Some of the most liberal members of Congress, as well as some of the most conservative members of Congress, are supporting my Enlist Act, and I think that's the first step to getting overall immigration reform. But I do think that we're going to see it over the next several months.
Congressman Jeff Denham, Republican from District 10 of California. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.